Well, on this edition of Command Performance, we have a special treat. Sometimes you just fall into a pile of luck here. Today, we have folk legend Arlo Guthrie. Sir, thanks so much
John,
for being with us.
Pleasure. What can I do for you?
Hey, we just want to talk to you really about folks in the military. We know about life on the road, life away from family. What's that been like for the decades that you've been doing this?
Well, I've been doing this 40 years, and most of the time I have been just, me on the road. In the early days, my wife and I would take the kids with us. But once the school started and the soccer and all that stuff, people have a life at home. And the only way we could deal with it was it became normal for us. It must be normal for all the service guys and their wives and families because, somehow it becomes normal if you're a kid. If you grow up that way, it's fine. If you suddenly took somebody out of a world that they were familiar with for a long time, it would be tough. But most of the service guys, their families have been in the service for a long time. They didn't just show up out of the blue, and they know what they're getting into. And you just got to be supportive, I guess. That's what we did with the kids. And now here I am on this tour. All of my kids and the grandkids are all on stage with me, and we're just doing it together. And I love that.
Now, what is that like? That's got to be a great feeling to be able to share something you love, music, and see it being passed down to the kids, the grandkids. How has that changed from the days when it was maybe just you traveling to now where here you are, you got the whole family on the bus, and you're just touring around playing music?
Well, I didn't expect it. I was hoping that one of them would end up smart. We actually did have one that went to college for a little while, and then she called me up. She said, "Hey, Pop, don't get me wrong. Don't get mad. It's just a ukulele. It only has 4 strings. I just got one." I says, "It starts with that. And then you go to a banjo. It's got 5 strings. And then you're going to call up and say you want a guitar. That's 6 strings. And it just gets worse." And sure enough, she just come back from a tour that she did with Willie Nelson's daughter, Amy Nelson. The two of them have a little group. And all of my kids ended up playing music. I think it's a language in and of itself. You can go anywhere in the world, and you can sit down with people whose language you don't understand, and they can't talk to you, but you can take out a guitar or something, or a banjo, whatever it is, and you got friends everywhere.
Now, we've talked to a lot of musicians who say just that. It's that musical communication that they've had with people. What, if any, is the most memorable time of your life that you can remember where music really touched you and you were communicating with other people?
Oh, my God. There's a lot of that. I'll tell you, one time I was traveling around the world with my son, and we stopped off in India. And at that time, the U.S. ambassador, was a buddy of mine, a guy named Richard Celeste. He used to be the governor of Ohio. And we stopped in just to stay with him and hang out. And he says, "Would you mind putting on a little performance for some of the embassy staff and some of the friends?" I said, "Sure, So we're out there playing. Here's all of the military guys who are over there, all of the heads of the corporations who you usually like to, nail for something. And they all standing there remembering what it's like to come from here, remembering who we are as a country and what that means to people around the world. Some of these guys were misty-eyed and stuff, and I thought to myself, here's a totally unexpected moment from people I wouldn't normally be hanging out with. And I loved that sometimes when that happens, and you find yourself somewhere around the world in a part that you would never expect to find some friends. That was a great moment for me and for my son and for all those folks who were there. Just an odd moment.
One last, or actually 2 more quick questions. We talk about life on the road and what's that like and taking people out of their environments. And I think within the military, we've realized sometimes we get so used to deployments, maybe you get so used to life on the road that it's kind of weird to get back home. Have you ever experienced that? Are there any tips or advice that you might have for folks to just kind of reintegrate back into the daily grind?
I'll bet you, and I'll bet you it's sort of the same. Wherever you are, you want to be in the other place. You get home, you've been wanting to get home. You're there for 3 weeks, and you suddenly say, "Oh, this is great. I'd rather be back there." And then you get back there for about 3 weeks, and you start saying, "Well, all right, now I'm missing home again." And so you're miserable all the time until you make that snap turnaround where you say, will you remember to yourself how much you really wanted to be here? So wherever you are, you're all right. It's got to be the same for the guys that have been doing tour after tour, or they wouldn't be doing it. And it's the same for the musicians who are gone. You know, I'm gone 10 months a year. That's it's not. No one's shooting at us yet out there, so it's a little different. But you know, the family stuff, the friends, the relatives that you miss. It's a big world out there, and anything can happen to anybody, anytime. Okay. And so you begin to be thankful for your friends, wherever you are, for your family when you're with them, and you know, for the people who surround you and make it possible.
One last thing, thanks so much for taking time with us, Mr. Guthrie. Is there anything you'd like to say to the troops out there who are fans and know of you?
What a time for you guys out there right now. I mean, we're all with you, and we're all just, you know, our hearts and our prayers are with everybody out there. I know people say these words over and over again, and a lot of times it's just for, you know, to elicit some yay from people, but everybody really means it. Well, not everybody. Most people mean it. And I get letters from guys all the time. You know, I mean, who had heard some of the songs over the years. You know, it's not everybody, obviously, but there are people for whom the work we do means something. It's like the soundtrack of your life, and if you know, there might be one out of 1,000 out there somewhere across the world, and I love getting those letters, and I answer everyone personally, and that's the least any one of us here can do, and we continue to do that, and just. Whatever happens, you know, we hope everybody gets home soon, not just personally, but policy-wise, and we hope everybody gets back safe.
Well, Mr. Guthrie, thanks so much for spending time with us. Have fun with your family. I know you will. Thank you.
Man.
Thank you.